Here we're going to talk about Dennis Prager's view on the recent Nashville shooting and listen to him blame uh, pretty much everybody but the actual reasons why mass shootings happen.
With you thoughts on my mind. On occasion, the thoughts are engendered by an event that's happening or just happened. Most of the time, it's about life in general. And that's why nearly all of these fireside chat openings are timeless. So I welcome you, and what's on many of our minds is another shooting at a school. This one in Nashville, Christian school, by a person who identified as the opposite sex. These are known today as the transgendered. It is a female who identified as a male. I think, 28 years old, 26 years old? One of those. It's not critical. And for whatever reason had particular animosity either to that school or to Christians in general, or both, the school and Christians.
From the manifesto, it was mostly the school/church that was targeted. Funny how people like Dennis Prager at the moment is claiming that transgender the transgender community is after Christians because there's a shooting at a Christian place. But he never talks about, right wingers being after Christians when they shoot up a church, like that happened with Dylan Roof. Shot up a black church. How did people like Dennis Prager respond? Oh, don't take away our guns. Who cares about these people dying? It's not right wingers seeking to kill, black and brown people and everybody else they hate. It's just, lone wolf people that are mentally ill. But also, hey, let's not, help people with mental illnesses. That's just their fault.
What I want to note is the way in which it has been covered. And I'm speaking to you within 2 days of it happening. More facts may unfold, and I want you to know that I recognize that. But based on what we know today, what I told you is what we know. But the coverage is what I want to comment on more than the actual horrible event. So, of course, once again, the issue for people known as progressives or left or whatever term one wishes to use, woke, whatever it might be, is the problem is guns. So I had a caller to my radio show who said it was guns. And I said to this person, I asked this person the following question, which I frequently ask, because it helps me both make my point and determine the values and clarity of thought of the person with whom I'm having a dialogue or even debate. So after answering this person's questions, I asked him a question. Said, if you could have a magic wand, if your aim were met, what would you like more? More fathers in America? More children staying at a home, living at a home with a father in the home? Or more gun laws?
Wow, so now he's just gonna blame the issue on single mothers, which is what a lot of right wingers love to do. Any issue that comes up, oh hey, it's the fault of single mothers. Look at all this stuff that happens, and it's supposedly all by people raised in a household with just a single mom. Like, no, that's not the issue whatsoever. The access to guns is the issue. And the person from Nashville live with both their parents. So it's like definitely not just fatherless households that's the issue. And if we were to look at some of the issues as to why there's a lot of single parent households, both on, mothers and fathers, right wingers wouldn't want to actually, implement any of the solutions whatsoever. All they want to do is complain.
Now, you could even say you would like both. By the way, that's what he said. He said, I would like both. And I said, that's fine. But you only called up about guns. I'm the one who raised the father's issue.
Yeah, an issue that just means nothing at the moment.
I think that the guns issue deflects in many ways from the real crises, which are moral and familial and social and religious. Yeah, religious. How many of the mass shooters of the last 20 years went to church the previous Sunday?
A lot of them, because a lot of them are right-wing Christians that believe in God and feel like it's their godly duty to do some mass shootings, or because of some religious racism that they have going on, because a lot of the right-wing Christians are extremely racist.
Prior to the shootings. Do you know that that question is never asked? Never. In everything I read, every other suggestion, including about suicides, which are rising in America at unprecedented rates among young people and among middle-aged and older people. It's
funny, because also the Nashville shooter went to that church and that school. And, I don't know if they were still religious afterwards, but, there's a lot of queer Christians out there. It's possible. But if you look in the past 20 years, majority of the mass shootings have been committed by right-wingers.
Never raised as an issue. Everything, mental illness is huge, and the lockdowns, or they call it COVID, which is true. The lockdowns, as you heard from me, all during the lockdowns, were a spectacular error.
Right, it was a spectacular error, even though it saved millions of people's lives, and so did the vaccine, which I don't know if Dennis Prager is against it or not, but, the lockdown was rough on people, but in the end it saved a lot of lives, which Dennis Prager should be happy about, but he's not.
Almost a crime in the damage that they did for absolutely no benefit. Look at Sweden, which didn't have lockdowns, as my example. But they're never raised. The issue is never raised about maybe religion. Even if you're an atheist, don't you have the obligation to be intellectually honest? Let's say you don't believe in God whatsoever. Fine. Why does that prevent you from asking the question, does religion help?
It can help people because, people have a community to socialize with, but ultimately, religion causes a lot of harm by convincing people that there are these like worthless beings that should be required to suffer because they got this imaginary thing called sin.
It shouldn't. If you really care about society and having less people murdered as a good example of caring for society, why wouldn't you ask what works? If what works...
We have a lot of religious people killing people, so, it's obviously not like religion preventing people from killing others. Just look throughout all of the United States. You got right-wing mass shooters, and you got, individual Christians that are killing people for various reasons, either in supposed exorcisms that they think they can do, or because somebody doesn't believe in the same religion, or because they claim God told them to do it.
Is not your cup of tea. It's irrelevant. You still have to ask what works. That's why, by the way, I make this point so often in all of my talk about God and religion, in all of my years of talking, which is since I was 21 years of age, I don't talk about God's existence nearly as much as God's necessity and the Bible's necessity specifically, because you could believe in God and it's irrelevant.
The Bible's necessity. Yeah, a book that talks about killing people, about genocide, rules for enslaving others, and rules about what to do if you find people that don't believe in your religion, and it all equals to murder. So there is no necessity of a book like that if we actually want to have a morally upstanding society.
Morally irrelevant, to be precise.